What if death wasn't the end, but just a doorway? What if, to reach eternity, your body had to be perfectly preserved, your heart judged by gods, and your soul navigate a treacherous underworld, or be devoured and cease to exist forever? For the ancient Egyptians, this wasn't a horror story. It was a roadmap to eternal life. They didn't fear death. They meticulously planned for it, and that preparation gave the world one of its most fascinating rituals, mummification. To the ancient Egyptians, life on earth was just a temporary stop. The afterlife was forever. They believed every person was a combination of physical and spiritual parts: the ka, or life force, the ba, your unique personality, and the heart, the seat of your conscience. For these parts to reunite after death and live on, the physical body had to remain intact. If the body decayed, the soul would become a lost, wandering spirit. This core belief drove their civilization, influencing everything from their art and architecture to their medicine and religion. But mummification didn't start as a complex science. In the earliest days, bodies buried in the hot, dry desert sand were naturally preserved. The Egyptians saw this as a divine sign that the body was meant to endure. Over thousands of years, they perfected methods to mimic this natural process, transforming it into a sacred, 70-day ritual. The process began with washing and purifying the body. Then came a shocking step: the brain was removed through the nose using long, hooked instruments. To the Egyptians, the brain was just filler. The heart was what truly mattered. Next, an incision was made in the side, and the internal organs were removed, all except the heart. The body was then completely covered in natron, a type of natural salt, and left to dry out for 40 days. Once desiccated, it was washed again, anointed with fragrant oils, and stuffed with linen to restore a lifelike shape. Finally, the meticulous wrapping began. Hundreds of meters of linen strips were wound around the body, and magical amulets were tucked between the layers for protection. A final painted mask was often placed over the head, creating an idealized image for the soul to recognize. While we often associate mummies with pharaohs, the practice wasn't just for royalty. Nobles, priests, and even some commoners could be mummified if their families could afford it. It was a spiritual economy. Even animals weren't left out. Cats, crocodiles, and birds were mummified by the millions, seen as sacred offerings to the gods. But preserving the body was only the first step. After burial, the soul embarked on a dangerous journey through the underworld, known as the Duat. This realm was filled with fiery lakes, demonic monsters, and guarded gates. To navigate it, the deceased was buried with a copy of the Book of the Dead, a collection of spells and passwords that acted as a guide to the afterlife. The final test was the weighing of the heart. Before the god of the underworld, Osiris, the deceased's heart was placed on a scale against the feather of Mat, the goddess of truth. If the heart was heavy with sin, it was thrown to the monstrous soul eater, Amit, and the person's existence was wiped out forever. But if the heart was pure and light, the soul was granted passage to the field of reeds, a perfect, eternal paradise. This entire process was overseen by powerful gods. Anubis, the jackal-headed god, presided over mummification. Osiris, who was himself murdered and resurrected, became the king of the afterlife, a symbol of rebirth. Their stories taught that death was not an end, but a transformation. That's why their tombs were not just burial places. They were eternal homes, filled with everything the deceased would need: food, furniture, clothes, and even servant statues. The walls were covered in vibrant paintings of life, because they believed what you depicted would become real in the next world. Today, we use CT scans and DNA analysis to unravel the secrets of mummies, revealing incredible details about their lives and health. But beyond the science, the Egyptian obsession with eternity speaks to a question we still ask: what comes next for them? Mummification wasn't about clinging to the past. It was their sacred promise to the future, ensuring that as long as the body endured, the soul would live on forever. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey into the ancient world fascinating, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories from history.